Anthropic, the AI company behind Claude, has filed to go public, setting it up to be one of the biggest initial public offerings in history. Anthropic recently surpassed OpenAI as the most valuable AI startup, with a valuation of nearly $1 billion. And it's one of several massive IPOs expected this year, which could shake up and accelerate the AI race. Let's bring in senior business and tech correspondent Jo Ling Kent. Jo Ling, great to see you. This is a highly anticipated IPO. Can you break down for us what this means for the company, investors, and really the overall AI race?
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to make a lot of people very wealthy, and it's also going to make Anthropic, if it ends up filing to go public and listing, a lot of people available to buy into Anthropic as a company. And so this is really, in the words of Dan Ives at Wedbush Securities, Anthropic plus SpaceX both going public, along with the anticipated IPO of OpenAI, is really opening the floodgates for the IPO market after a relatively quiet period. And of course, the SpaceX IPO expected to make Elon Musk the first ever trillionaire in the coming months. That company expected to go public in mid-June. And in terms of the Anthropic IPO, they filed confidential paperwork. They disclosed it themselves on their website, and they say that they plan to take a look at market conditions as they proceed in this process. But this is really a race between OpenAI and Anthropic. Anthropic getting to this stage a little bit sooner. OpenAI expected to imminently file its own paperwork to go public. But these are two very, very powerful companies that have raised a lot of money. Anthropic worth nearly $1 trillion, $965 billion as of its last Series H fundraising round, which was announced just last week. And this also comes as Anthropic is facing a legal battle on both coasts when it comes to its supply chain risk designation by the Department of Defense back in March. And they are fighting that against the federal government, trying to win those arguments in two different courts. And so this is a consequential moment for Anthropic, and it's also a moment where you can see these two big AI companies, plus SpaceX, which has a huge AI component as well with Elon Musk's xAI, trying to capitalize on the momentum of this huge investment in AI across the public and private markets.
And in an opinion piece for the New York Times, Jo Ling, Senator Bernie Sanders called for the public to own half of big AI companies. What can you tell us about this?
Yeah, this was a really interesting op-ed in the New York Times from Senator Bernie Sanders, and he's essentially proposing what he calls an AI Sovereign Wealth Fund Act that he plans to propose. And he wants the companies to be able to be taxed, 50% tax on their stock. And his argument, Bernie Sanders' argument, is that he wants to give two things to the American public because he believes that AI is shaping the labor market and shaping the future of work so dramatically that the public should have a stake, a voice in how AI both impacts society and also the profits, the huge profits that are expected to come out of this. And so he has 2 points in this op-ed. He says he wants to give the public a direct role in determining the direction of this technology. This is certainly not an original idea from Senator Sanders. Plenty of scholars and other theorists have proposed this before. And his second point is he wants to have this sovereign wealth fund's value go up, which then drives more revenue to the federal government and to taxpayers at the end of the day. But this is a part of a larger debate about who should control the future of AI, especially as AI becomes more autonomous, able to make its own decisions, and who benefits from this technology, especially with so many questions around how this eventually and currently impacts the workforce and your ability to make money and your ability to do your job. So very interesting op-ed from Senator Sanders in the New York Times today, certainly stirring up another chapter of this ongoing.
Oh, we lost Jo Ling Kent there, but thank you so much for that update, Jo Ling.